Hey, welcome back everyone and welcome to Wordies. And today we are talking about how do you revise in the last 1 month. I'll tell you the different ways in which you can optimize the revision process. So I'll take you to the Excel sheet and that would give you more clarity on this. So I'll tell you first like what to do in the last 1 month for the FRM part 1 or part 2 exam. And then I'll tell you different ways that can help you to revise effectively. Let's get right into it. Right, we know that for the August exam, we just have almost a month left for the exam. So, what should you be doing? So, here I've created an Excel sheet, and this would give you a visual outlook as to what. So, here starting from 1st of July, this is what I call it as a revision stage. That means you have to revise effectively the entire Schweizer book or GARP book if you're referring that. Make sure that you revise it early, okay? This is how your next 12 days would look like. Now here, one thing that you need to note is that this is going to be your first revision. I'm assuming that. Make sure that you cover every topic thoroughly. This is very, very crucial. Do not skip anything in this particular revision. You have to go the entire reading the entire Schweizer book. Okay, you can mark important questions while you go through that process or highlight any difficult areas that you still find to be tough. Okay, this is the thought process that we have it here. Then you have the 13th of July, which is a Sunday. Okay, I'm assuming that you may give your first mock. Ideally, you should give your first mock by 13th of July so that we have 20 days left for more revision. You can change your strategy if you need, right? So this is ideally what should be done. Either you can start off with mock 1, which is either you can give GARP mock on your dashboard or you can give a Schweizer mock if you're doing self-study. So both of these would be available to you. And if you have your own institute coaching mock, you can do that. And for our students, you can give any of the mocks that we have on the portal. Okay. So this entire stage is known as self-evaluation and you do revision accordingly. Okay. So this is how it's going to look like. So you do your first mock, you evaluate yourself. Where do you stand and how much is your score, so on and so forth. And then you take the next step. So then you another have a week for revision and then mock number 2. Now either again you can give the GARP second mock or the Schweizer second mock that you get, or you can give any of the mocks that we provide. You have Saturday and Sunday, you can give another 2 mocks that you have. So ideally I have made sure that you are giving out at least 4 mocks, okay, full-fledged mock that you give in a proper timed format, right? And then that would help you out to track yourself. Make sure that you analyze your mock. So the entire day would go into the analysis, into learning what went wrong, what questions you did not get, so on and so forth. So this is going to be a self-evaluation stage. And in between you have one slot for revision, then again you revise, then again you revise for the final revision. If you want, you can give another mocks here as well on weekdays. But I have assumed that only on Saturdays and Sunday that you would be able to, as a working professional, you will get full-fledged day. So I have assumed that. But again, if you have time in the last few days, you can give maybe the 5th mock, the 6th mock, like this. The more if you want to do it. If you just want to give 2-3 mocks, not a problem. But make sure that you review the questions. If you're not giving GARP mock, make sure that you review them. If you're not giving Schweizer mock, make sure that you review them. Last week before the exam, now this is going to be your final revision that you would do. You will not have time to go through the entire books perhaps, right? And you just need to revise the formulas, the questions that you've highlighted, important topics. This is the most narrow down phase of your prep. Okay, and these are going to be your exam dates. Okay, so here I would recommend from 1st of August, do not try to do any mock exam. If your score would be less, you would panic. So it's always recommended that in the last few days, just revise what you know. Try to retain as much as possible. Okay, take holidays if possible and retain as much so that you remember on the exam day. And now let's talk about how do you revise. You see that a lot of revision is that we see in this particular month. We know that we have to revise it, But what are the different ways that you can actually revise? So first is obviously you can read the Schweizer book here, and you can start reading the Schweizer book in this particular revision stage. Okay, it is highly recommended you go through that. But the only problem is reading just the Schweizer is that it doesn't lead to much of retention, right? Which is what is needed in the last 1 month. So what do you do is that you add certain things to it. As an example, you can go for Schweizer plus the chapter wise questions. So now you're reading as well as you're reviewing the questions that you've already solved. It wouldn't take you much time because you don't have to solve it again, but you just have to review those questions. So that is very important. Another thing that you can add to it is a book wise question. What do I mean by that? Basically, book wise question, as an example, is that in FRM part 1, we have, let's say, financial markets and products. So every chapter, you just pick up 3 questions from each chapter, and you have almost 80 to 100 questions. Now, those 80 to 100 questions will help you to revise the entire book that we have. So that is another, great way to add to the revision process. Okay, so if you have this, that is fantastic. So maybe in this particular second phase of revision or here, you can go for a book wise question revision so that you're just reviewing and you're retaining and you're getting ready for the next mock. That is how you can utilize it. You can even add the crash course videos. Now, this is an excellent thing that you can actually use. So as an example, in this stage, if you want to review the entire curriculum in just about 30-35 hours, you can go for this particular crash course videos that will help you to review the curriculum in much less time. That is another thing that you can do. If you have created that summary notes or your own notes, you can review that specifically. When we have less time here, you can review it, because as an example, for part 2, it becomes really challenging to review Schweizer material over and over and over again, right? Starting from 1 chapters to 100 chapters. It is tiring. So you need these, key concepts in Schweizer, the Schweizer secret sauce, or we have also created our own notes, right? Anything that you can go ahead and you can utilize that. You can go for a formula sheet. You can review the questions. So this is how you can go ahead and you can do that. Another thing that I'll suggest you is that after this particular first mock or the second mock, you realize that you're getting, let's say, low score in foundations of risk management. So you need to improve that, right? So what you can do is you can just solve maybe 20 questions just of foundations of risk management. That would help you to gain confidence in the foundations of risk, right? So that when you're getting ready for the next mock, you know that you've prepared well for the weaker section. That is what the logic here is. Okay, so hopefully this is what your 1 month would look like. We know there's going to be revision, but these are the different ways that which you can utilize the revision process. Add more to just reading the book. Okay, so with that being said, guys, I'll see you in the next video, and if you have any questions, please post it down in the comments. Thank you so much for your time.